Hi, today in AP Statistics, we'll be talking about confidence intervals and how to find them. First off, we're going to identify the 4 steps for finding confidence interval. Okay, so the first one is going to be identify the sample statistic. Okay, the sample statistic would be the mu or the x bar for the actual problem. So we identify that and then we use that. Okay, the second step is to select the confidence interval if it hasn't already been given to you. The most common ones are 80%, 90%, 95%, which is one of the most common ones I've ever used, and 99%. Okay, so you're going to be using any of those. Then what you want to do is you want to find the margin of error. Okay, all right. And the margin of error is going to be the z-score based upon the confidence interval times the standard deviation of the estimate. Okay, and the standard deviation is going to be a little bit different. You're going to take the sigma and divide it by the square root of n. All right, and then finally specify the confidence interval and give it some context. And there you go. You have confidence interval, which is the sample statistic plus or minus the margin of error. Now the z-scores, I just quickly typed them in, are going to be lined up with this. And I forgot to also give you 98% just in case the confidence interval was, 98%. But the z-scores that are going to line up with the margin of error are going to be these bad boys right here. And they're usually called z-stars. Okay? All right, so without further ado, let's take a look at a problem. Okay. Suppose we want to estimate the average weight of an adult male in DeKalb County, Georgia. We draw a random sample of 1,000 men from a population of 100,000 men and weigh them. We find that the average man in our sample weighs 180 pounds. Okay, and the standard deviation of that sample is 30 pounds. What is 95% confidence interval? So, first off, we identify the sample statistic, and the sample statistic is going to be 180 pounds. Okay, so that's going to be our x bar, so 180, and then we put plus or minus right there because we know the next part is going to be the next part. Okay, now the confidence interval is given to us, so we're going to use that z-score given to us right up there in the list of z-scores, and that's going to be 1.96. And then we're going to times that by the standard deviation, which is 30, divided by the square root of, let me see, the total, which is going to be 1,000. I had to think about that for a second. Am I dividing by 100 million or 1,000? It's actually just going to be the 1,000. Okay, let me double check it real fast. Yep, that's right. Okay, and we end up multiplying everything out and simplifying it, and we get 180 plus or minus 1.86. All right, now that is the confidence interval, but we haven't done the last step yet, which is specify the confidence interval and give it some context. Okay, so what we are going to say is that with a confidence interval of 95%, okay, we can say that if we collect any more data, it's going to be within this range of numbers, which would be 180 minus 1.86, which 178.14 pounds to 181.86 pounds, which is the plus part, the 180 plus 1.86. So in other words, this doesn't mean that 95% of my information is appearing between these two numbers, although you could technically say that sometimes. But what it's meaning is if I gather any data, 95% of the data that I gather in the future should appear between these two numbers, somewhere within this range. Okay, and as you can see, the higher up in the confidence interval you get, the 99, the 98, you're going to have a much wider range of numbers to collect from, okay? And so just remember that the confidence interval isn't telling us where the amount of data already is, it's telling us the amount of data in the future of what we gather, okay? All right, that's it for doing a confidence interval. I'll talk to you later.